Hi, we have another good news week from Tesla. I've looked for the bad news. Maybe you saw some bad news. Put it in the comments below, but I didn't see any bad news this week at all. I just saw good news. I don't think it's just my optimism. I think it really was just a good news week for Tesla. So let's, this is Randy Kirk, by the way, in case you didn't know, there are things that you can do to help this channel. One of those things would be to like this video. Another thing would be to subscribe to the channel. That shows other people that there's a lot of folks that are interested in the channel. We passed 6,000, I think now, and we're going for 7,000. So you can help that way. You can help by commenting. Not only do the comments help the algorithm, but they help me. They help me know what to do for my next video. And they help me because I just like reading your comments. So many clever and interesting comments, and it helps me with new shows. I get to see what you're talking about, and sometimes your idea inspires me to do the next show. So anyway, those are lots of things you can do to help the channel. You can also, of course, join Patreon. That's my #1 request. I need more folks in that group. We had 2 more sign up today. So we're getting very close to what I call the magic number, where we're going to start having a great conversation on Patreon about your future and my children's future, and what it's going to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and how we're going to adapt to all these wild and crazy changes that are coming our way. So let's dive into the good news week. So of course, last week was so incredible. The news was so amazing. The previous week that was the first time I did this Good News Friday wrap up. But I think I'm going to do a good news wrap up every Friday if I'm in town and I have the ability to do it. It doesn't mean I won't tell the bad news too, because I will. I honestly will look. If I see bad news, I'm going to tell you about it. But this last week, we had one piece of news that was so flabbergasting and so amazing and so fun and so inspiring that it put the previous week to shame. And that was when Elon Musk announced that he is going to reveal Master Plan 3 on March 1 at Investor Day. You should tell your friends that they should check this out. They should go on during Investor Day, watch the video, watch the entire presentation, just like everybody in the world was watching Steve Jobs years ago when he was unveiling the next, Apple product. This announcement is going to be earth-changing. It's going to change your life if you're a fanboy or girl. It's going to change your life if you're an investor. It's going to change your life if you just are watching this entire process play out in the Elon Musk economy. And it's going to change your life if you're just an average citizen that's interested in the future. I was talking to some folks today, and we were talking about the possibility of free or almost free energy in 5 or 10 years. Too cheap to meter is the way Tony Seba put it, and we're headed in that direction. Now, is too cheap to meter electricity going to help the wealthy, or is that going to help the poor, the lower class, the folks that are barely getting by in third world nations or even second world nations or even here in the United States? It is going to help folks at the bottom rungs of the ladder way more than the folks at the top rungs. They can afford the electricity. They can afford the gas bill, whatever it is. They can afford their energy bill, but not everybody is in that place. So the future is going to change if, like phones, which used to cost money, to call 3 miles from my house. It used to cost money, a lot of money, to call overseas. All of that's free now. Well, that's where we're going with electricity. So Elon Musk's statement that he's going to unveil Master Plan 3, in addition to the fact that he's going to be unveiling the robotaxi platform, possibly the same platform that'll be used for some kind of a very inexpensive car. Maybe it's a $20,000, $25,000 car, somewhere in that range, and other announcements with regard to commercial vehicles. All of that is taking place. But what was added this week was Master Plan 3. We've been waiting for it. It's going to happen on that day, and you should tell your friends to tune in. It's going to be a more important couple of hours than watching the Super Bowl in a couple of days. Okay, so that was #1. That's top. Okay, we didn't bury the lead. We went right for the top story first. #2, the announcement that Tesla's profits were greater than the combination of Ford's and General Motors together. So all the naysayers, all the fudsters, all the other folks that have been talking negative about Tesla all these years, and why should we pay this huge premium for Tesla over these established companies like Ford and GM? Well, now you know, because even now, even in the beginnings of the ramp, we're only talking 2 million cars this year on our way to 20 million in 7 years. Right now, Tesla has more profit than the combination of these two legacy auto companies. And unsurprisingly, Tesla will probably pass Toyota in 2023 and have greater profits than Toyota. In fact, maybe they'll have greater profits than Toyota, GM, and Ford combined. We'll see. That may be a little bit out there, but kind of depends on what happens to their profits. Maybe their profits come down as well. But we've been talking about on the show, the profits that are going to be coming from energy, the profits that are going to be coming from the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA, the profits that are going to be coming from the divisions that nobody's paying any attention to, like the supercharger stations. Those profits are all going to start to materialize and start to multiply. And that's just those, has nothing to do with the cars, which is already going to be 50%, 100% greater than this year, probably bottom line just for the cars. And then, of course, we have the possibility for FSD and robotaxi on top of all of that. So the future is great, but it's kind of interesting to see that Tesla already is equal to Ford plus GM. All right, number 3, hints from the invitations that went out for Investor Day. A lot of people talking about the hints. So I'm just going to call it good news because the hints they mean something. They probably mean a fully cast car, so that the upper body part of the car will be partially or fully cast. This has been a goal, I know, of Elon's for a while. He's talked about it, that there's no reason why that can't happen. So we might be looking at that, and that would be huge news, but just the hint of it, and that the hint, whatever the hint is, it's something cool, you can be sure of that. So that was cool. I love that headline. The stock was flat for the week. Is that good news? Well, after a run-up of 96% from the low to 96% from 101 to 196 in just a few weeks for the stock, even though it went up quite a bit more during the week, it came back. Well, it ended up the week completely flat, while the NASDAQ was down 2%. So yes, I would call that a very good week. There's a consolidation. You need consolidation before you go to the next level. I know I said on my video this morning, oh, how in the world can it be possible that people would even think about selling Tesla at these levels? Well, you know, come on, let's be real. Some people said, hey, there's a profit, I'm going to grab it. Other people said, hey, it can't just keep going up like this. So technically it's time to get out. But the fundamentals haven't changed. In fact, they've just gotten better. So as the fundamentals have not changed, it is a little shocking to know that some people would take their money and run. But that happens. Stocks don't go straight up, although Tesla has from time to time. Anyway, I don't know, I have no idea short term. Don't ask me what's going to happen next week. I don't know. I won't be selling anything. I can tell you that for sure. Okay. Next, Dylan Loomis, my favorite daily news reporter. Dylan Loomis reported that Lathrop is at about half capacity. So we've had a lot of folks that have done great reporting. And there was a lot of speculation that they were already at 100% capacity, around 25 units per day. It appears from some insider information that Dylan was able to latch onto that it's more like 12 a day and, you know, heading towards full capacity. So is that good news that we're only at half instead of full? The good news is we're at half. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Listen to me now. It doesn't matter when battery ramp gets to 100%. It doesn't matter when the 4680. It doesn't matter when Lathrop gets to 100%. It doesn't matter when Cybertruck gets to 25,000 or 50,000 or 100,000 or 250,000 a year. What matters is we're going there. I mean, yes, if you're a short-term player, there's some opportunities for catalysts to buy in and sell and whatever as these announcements are made about capacity, but that's not bad news. The bad news would be, oh, there's something wrong at Lathrop. The good news is, oh, we're already at 12 units a day or somewhere around that number. Now, maybe his reporting is wrong and it's really 25 a day, but more and more reporting that Lathrop is really creating a significant amount of capacity. There was also an announcement. I just saw the headline. I didn't write it down, but a huge new project in Canada. All the documents were signed. It's a deal. I think it was a $250 million project using megapacks in Canada. You might want to look that one up, but that's roughly the number. Okay. The next piece of good news, Ron Barron. Now, Ron is a fanboy all the way, but Ron is one of the most successful investors in history. And Ron Barron is all in on Twitter, and he's all in on SpaceX, and he's very much all in on Tesla, and all in terms of his attitude. And he says, look, I've looked at the numbers, I've looked at what's happening, I'm analyzing it just the way I would analyze anything else, and I see $1,500 a share in the near. I think he said 5 years out, and that would be 7.5 times current price. I don't care whether it's 5 years out or 7 years out or 3 years out. If it gets to 1,500 within this decade, I'm going to be at one happy camper, and I bet you are too. So he's confirming Cathie Wood in a completely different way. Cathie Wood has it coming a lot sooner, and she's including robotaxi in that number. I personally think we're at 400 this year, 700 next year, probably 1,000 in 2025, maybe 1,500 in 2026. And that's without robotaxi, that's without Optimus, that's without Dojo as a service. So those numbers are just the basic cars, the new cars that are coming, the energy storage, both in your garage and at the utility, and the current capabilities in terms of everything else that they're doing. Oh, and semi-truck. So just the basis on that, those are my numbers for the next couple of years. Okay, more good news. Now, this is not Tesla specific, but I would think that you would think that things that happen to Starship rub off on Tesla. It gives more and more indications of the brilliance of Elon Musk and the engineers in both organizations, because they do cross and they do swap and they do help each other. So what happened at that company, SpaceX? What happened to SpaceX last week? Two really big things. Number one, they said that they did the test of all of the Raptors. And as it turns out, one of them was turned off out of 32. One of them was turned off. Is it 32 or 33? Help me in the comments below. One of them was turned off before the actual ignition, and another one turned itself off during the ignition. And so 31 of the 33, I think that's the number. They did go fully tested. Everything was perfect. So according to Elon, that's fine for NASA. That's fine for SpaceX. Everybody's very happy with that, which means that we're basically now on the countdown to the suborbital test, unless there's something else that comes up in between. So that's incredible news. This is huge news, not just for you, not just for me, not just for folks that are fans of space. This is incredible news for the entire population of the world. Okay, the other thing that they mentioned, which is more exciting, well, it's exciting for everybody. Starlink is now had a profitable cash flow positive quarter, and they're expecting to have positive cash flow for all of 2023. Now, this was stated by Elon that this would be the signal, this would be the beginning of how we get to an IPO on Starlink. And I know that all the investors, almost every investor who's a true investor in Tesla is wanting to get some kind of foot in the door with SpaceX and Starlink in particular, because the opportunity there. Read the Elon Musk mission, read the stuff that's being put out by Brian Wong on his website, his blog, nextgreatfuture.com, and you'll see that the potential, the massive potential for just printing money is just huge. So Elon tampered down everybody's excitement by saying this is just the first step, and it's probably a couple of years yet until there's an IPO, but 2 years goes by fast. So I wouldn't be too worried about how the 2 years is. If we get a chance of that IPO, whether it's in 6 months, 2 years, or 3 years, who cares? we want that opportunity to get in on that deal. All right. So like the channel. If you like the content, you know what to do, but mostly join Patreon. And if you were a future thinker, if you're an out-of-the-box thinker, if you like to mastermind, it's going to be well worth your $5 a month to mastermind with this group, because there's some really wild and crazy folks that have joined up and are really definitely the kind of folks that think outside the box. So, hey, listen, it's really been great talking to you.